All rise for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Alvarez.
Here.
Councilwoman Eckhart.
Here.
Councilwoman Hudak.
Here.
Councilman Lord.
Here.
Supervisor Hay.
Here. Okay, we did the pledge. Okay, now what do we do?
And our applicants
Okay.
here.
Can you shut that? Let's take a 2-minute recess. Just a quick announcement. We started the meeting earlier this evening. We had like nobody in the audience. Now it's quite full, thank God. There was an accident on Route 22. So we came in around 5 after 7 to start the meeting. We didn't have anyone, so we continued our executive session. So bottom line is, we're going to move forward at this point in time. I'm going to make a motion to come out of the executive session. No decision was reached. All in favor? Oh, a second?
I'll
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the first item on the agenda this evening is a swearing-in ceremony, and the first person up will be Councilwoman Elizabeth Hudak.
Are you ready? You're gonna have to simulate a Bible to realize.
Maybe not everyone knows, this is Judge Grossman.
Yes, I've been called
Putnam
worse, but
County?
that one's true.
I knew him when he was worse. He's not much better. Okay.
And I thank Judge Grossman for coming this evening. I've known him a long time, and it's an honor and privilege to have him swear me in for my 3rd term, and I thank him again, and I thank whoever cleared the traffic outside.
No, nobody, it's still backed
Oh, it's
up.
still- okay, very good.
It's still backed up.
Thank you,
Are
Judge.
you ready?
Yes,
Would you raise your right hand?
Yes.
And repeat after me.
I will.
I, Elizabeth D. Hudak,
I, Elizabeth D. Hudak,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of Southeast Town Board Member
the duties of Southeast Town Board Member
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
My congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead.
Oh, just a couple of words. Thank you. But more so because, as everyone knows, God forbid I should just say a couple of words. But, once again, thank you to Judge Grossman, who I've known forever, and such a wonderful jurist. And just in case you don't know, Judge Grossman had been up in Dutchess County Supreme Court for the past couple of years, and he's back to Putnam, thank God. I, for one, welcomed him back with a lot of other of my colleagues. He does a fabulous job, and we're honored to have him on our bench. Additionally, I just want to thank everyone out there who have sitting there, because we don't generally have these many people. It's wonderful. Maybe we'll have swearing-ins every meeting now. But that being said, I've been here for a while, and I've enjoyed discharging my duties faithfully, and I look forward to continuing to do so. And I would ask everyone out there, please, and no kidding around. The more people that come here and watch our meetings and interface with us at the meetings and otherwise, the better off the town is. And I welcome everyone's support. It's great to see old faces, new faces, and look forward to seeing you again. Anytime I can help, please let me know. Thank you again.
Okay, next will be John Lord. Now, these are ceremonial. They've come in earlier and taken their oaths just in case something like tonight happened and didn't happen. So John is going to be sworn in by his aunt, Irene Hagan. And Irene Hagan is a former mayor of the Village of Brewster, former customer of mine decades ago. Now cigarettes. Oh, did you win?
have my brand of cigarettes.
No, see, you shouldn't have smoked. Okay, John? Yep, you tell me.
Are we doing John James?
How's it said? Just
And
jump.
Victor's gonna oversee the
Okay.
ceremony, and if more cigarettes, please.
Raise your right hand. I, John Lord,
I, John Lord,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of town councilman.
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of town councilman.
That's it.
Thank you. John, kind of stand, this stand.
Okay. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Town of Southeast, for voting for me and giving me this opportunity to serve you all. I'll do the best I can, and please pay attention and come out and make sure that we do the best we can. Thanks a lot.
Okay, first item on the agenda this evening is a work session for a vehicle policy. It's come to our attention recently that the reporting of accidents has become, I would say, a little bit of an issue. We passed back in 2012, about 3 weeks after I got into office, the vehicle policy. And number 12 of the vehicle policy says employees must report to their supervisor and the town supervisor any accident, theft, or damage involving a town vehicle or a personal vehicle used on town business, regardless of the extent of damage or lack of injuries. This report must be made as soon as possible, but no later than 24 hours after the accident. Now, recently, we've had a few accidents, and one of them I was not made aware of until after the fact. And actually, the person who was involved in the accident sent me an email, and it was kind of shocking to me that I wasn't aware of it. So we went back to look at the policy. Now, I believe that the town is a town of departments, and the town itself, the reporting of accidents, belongs to the town and not each individual department. So what I want to know is, do we need to change the vehicle policy? Should the reporting of the accident be made to this, whoever the department head is first, which is what's been going on, and that they report it to the department head, and then the department head has that person contact me. Once they contact me, there's a form they must fill out. In my office, I have all the personnel files. I found out, I asked the town clerk, there's something that we don't have, and I found that to be a problem. So the question is, should the reporting of accidents be done to the town through the department head to the supervisor, who forwards it to the insurance companies, or vice versa? Now, in case you don't know, that all of you that ever drive a town vehicle, there's something called lens, and what happens is we enter the person's license into a system that provided by New York State. And if you get pulled over for anything, drunken driving, seatbelt violation, your license expired, my office is notified. And I have all the personnel files of all the individuals, and then I notify them. I notify them, like, did you realize your license has expired? Most times I get it, and they already know it's done. If they take a educational class for driving or whatever, I'm notified of it, and I put it into their file. So the question is, should all departments report accidents to the department head and to the supervisor, who in turn turns it over to the town clerk? Or should the department head directly report it to the insurance companies? I'm in favor of the way it's written. And if we're going to stick to the policy, or do we change the policy? That's the question that's being asked this evening. If we're not going to make a change to the policy, I'll send out a memo to all the departments tomorrow and say, any future accidents, here's the procedure. Now, NYMER, which is our insurance carrier, provided me with a document, which we provide. Unfortunately, we've had like 2 accidents in 2 days, but the weather hasn't been that good. And I immediately, department heads notify me, I send it to the person, and usually by the end of the day, I have the report. I forward that report to the town clerk, who then forwards it to NYMER. And of course, if there's a claim made, which unfortunately we've had 2 claims in the past 2 weeks, they go directly to the town clerk. So, discussion.
I think in the first instance, what I'd like to know is, does NYMER, if you've spoken to them, favor one type of policy, in quotes, as against another? In other words, have they opined at all regarding the fact that employees must report to their supervisor and the town supervisor?
No,
Or have they taken no position at all?
no position. They said it's our policy is what rule.
Okay, so then what I would suggest, and I believe that this might be something that would be helpful, particularly in lawsuits. I don't know how good it is if you have duplicative reports. So therefore, if employee A, let's call it, is in an accident, reports to the supervisor, and then later reports, to their supervisor, and later reports then to the supervisor, you, issues 2 reports which may be conflicting, whether or not in a subsequent lawsuit or subsequent litigation, that the fact that there's been some difference in the reports could be used against the town. It might seem like a small point, but in many instances, that could be an issue.
There will only be one report in the end. We're going to decide tonight whether the policy we have in place is in fact the policy.
Which says
or-
both. So this
No,
one,
yes, they report to the direct supervisor.
and they report to you. That's what that says.
I know, and then when they report to me, I'm the one who initiates the paperwork, which starts the process to go to NYMER.
Okay, what I'm saying is, I think that it's either going to be, and I'll be guided by counsel in this case, whether it's a good idea to have this one employee, employee A, report to the supervisor, let's say on the beginning of day 1, and the beginning of day 2 then reports to you, and those written reports, I assume that they'd be written reports, would then be sitting in department file and in your file, and if there's any contrast or anything different about them, whether they could be used in any subsequent discovery or disclosure. I mean, when you have depositions, things of that nature. So would it be better to have one report, the supervisor of the department of employee A then issues a report to you, which incorporates that one report? So in essence, employee A isn't running around speaking a lot to different people or the other employees, and later on, a plaintiff's attorney can come in and say, wait a second, why did you say that to your department head and that to the supervisor and maybe to employee B? So I think it's best if we just have one report, if it's related to the department head, and then it's related to you. And then it would be the department head obligation to report it to you, which means we have one report, a supervisor who's relating to you that one report, which is hearsay anyway. That's what I think.
If I may, I think the buck does stop, to be blunt and short, the buck does stop at the top. I think the supervisor is elected to oversee the business, health, and welfare of the town. And so it makes sense to me if you want to have one report filed, but I think the supervisor must know about all the accidents.
Oh,
in the
absolutely,
town.
and the supervisor then has discretion to then say to the department head, oh, by the way, I'm not entirely satisfied, I understand, or really I'd like to get a little bit more of of information on that for NYMER, and then at that point, hopefully, then the supervisor, Tony, has the right to then say, let me meet with that employee separately, and hopefully then would speak to council about it and say, let's see what it is that we can, speak to this employee about. I'm just fearful of a lot of stories go running around. So that employee can speak to the department head. It's the department head's obligation to promptly speak to Tony, who then has the right to say, okay, thank you for the report, here it is, report it to NYMER, or at that point say, I want to go back and speak to employee A more about what's been reported.
Who do you want to do the reporting to NYMER? Should it go through my office to the town clerk, who's responsible for all that type of litigation, if it becomes litigation?
Sure.
Or should it be the department head that does it?
I think you ought to be the person that does the reporting to NYMER, if that's indeed what has been used. So it doesn't deprive you of any ability to still, and the responsibility of reporting it to NYMER.
Okay, so that's the way I believe this policy reads.
Well, it says, and the town supervisor.
That's me.
No, but the employee must report to their supervisor
report-
and the town
They
supervisor.
first report the accident to their supervisor, who's the direct responsible person to report to.
Correct.
Okay,
Right.
overall, I sit here, I get all the heat, okay?
The way I read that is employee A says to the supervisor, this is what happened, and then they have to run over to your office and say, let me tell you what happened. That's how
And then
I
they fill
read
out the
that.
report with mine. Yes,
So I think it's the department head that gets the initial report, speaks to you, and if you believe that you've got to now speak to that employee and have that employee make or flesh out more of the details, then that's what you do.
okay, no. You're correct when you say the department head is reported to first, once the accident happens. They go to the department head. The department head is made aware that the person had an accident. That person who has the accident then comes to the supervisor's office
Right.
and fills out the report.
See, that's what I'm saying. In other words, this employee is going to make out a report.
To me.
Okay, so what you're saying, though, is once again, it's duplicative. They first tell their supervisor, their department head, then they tell you. So now you have two reports.
No, there's no report.
It's just a
The
verbal,
first report is to say,
confirmation, Liz. You're just basically saying, hey, I got into an accident, with
Well,
a
that's what
pickup truck or whatever.
I mean, to me, if Tony wants to still talk to the individual, then so be it.
but they have to, there's a report to be filled out.
Correct.
I have those reports. The department heads don't have the reports.
Okay,
They want to tell their boss, their immediate boss is their direct supervisor.
okay,
They go back and say, Bob, or so, who the person is,
Yeah.
I had an accident.
Right.
And they say, ask them what happened, report to the supervisor, and fill out the report. I take that report, give it to Michelle, and it's sent to
okay,
NYMER.
so then what it is,
How do we word
the
it?
first report is the one then, what you're saying is, that report is just, hey, department head, I got into an accident. Well, go,
Say verbal.
yeah, go over to Tony, and Tony's the one that does the written report, if
Okay.
that's how you want to look at it.
Employees must verbally report to their supervisor of an accident and then follow up with written report to the supervisor.
Maybe employees must initially report immediately, or verbally.
Yeah, I think Liz makes a very valid point in that if there was for instance, the head of the facilities department, if he were getting a written report
He's not.
from the employee, I'm just using this as an example, if he were getting a written report from the employee, and then the employee were then to go to you and fill out another written
No,
report.
that's not happening.
There could be a possibility but what you're saying is that doesn't happen.
That's not supposed to, it hasn't, it shouldn't happen.
Well, I know it shouldn't happen, but.
That's what we're talking
One
But right
department-
now, the way things, we'll use the highway department as an example. They have been reporting directly to NYMER and not reporting to the supervisor of the town. That's where the problem lies. Because there are accidents happening that you as the town supervisor don't know about it. So what I think, if you want to clarify the policy, make it very clear that their first is to make a verbal report to their direct supervisor, and then contact the town supervisor's office to fill out an accident.
Okay, can we do this now? Because this was actually, we deferred this till tonight, so we can get this out first of the year.
What if you said employees must immediately make a verbal report to their supervisor to start with?
And the thing would be, just make because you can still have verbal reports the subject of depositions and,
Right.
yeah, I mean, what I'm saying to you is I just don't want, like I said, duplicative reports.
There's gonna be one written report. They just basically tell their supervisor, you have an accident, you go home to your parents, then they call the insurance company type thing, okay? Basically the same thing.
I think what it is that the employee must promptly notify the department head, verbally, promptly report an incident. That department head has got to say, okay, stop right there. Tomorrow, let's say hypothetically, or this afternoon, you need to go and see, Mr. Hay or Tony, the supervisor, to file a written report. I think that's how it's gotta be.
How can we get the wording? It should be simple. I heard one, employee must verbally report to their supervisor.
Well, you
their
can
direct-
say
The
immediately
occurrence-
make a verbal report.
The occurrence of
Okay,
incident?
can we work,
Yeah.
The occurrence of an
can we
incident.
work that wording out now? And then we'll put it in and send it out tomorrow?
Well, are we gonna modify number
Yes.
12?
Yes.
So then we have to modify number 12 and say tonight at a work session, and we don't need to do it any other way, right?
Well, you can.
It's just a
adopt the-
policy,
You can
right?
adopt the amendment to the policy as an add-on to the regular agenda. So it's, it's a formal adoption of amendment to the policy.
Because we kind of need
It's
this
not a local law.
now. This is something we do in the organizational, which was delayed for last week. But we need to get this straightened out because there's, some reports that are missing.
Okay, so,
Help.
counsel?
I'd start by saying employees must make an immediate, or must make,
If you just
How
say
about
notify or
employees must verbally
notification.
report, like it was stated earlier, to
Well, we
the,
want to make sure that it's,
to their
you can
They
immediate.
say-
don't wait 6 weeks to do it. I mean,
Yeah,
they
right.
must make a,
Well,
they
it
have to
mentions
report- they have to
24
report
hours after.
The accident to the supervisor within
Within
24 hours, where I have to provide that paperwork to send to NYMER.
right.
Right now, there is a duplication in a sense.
right.
So, employees must verbally report to their direct supervisor
Yep.
and
Subsequently? And promptly subsequently, within XYZ hours? What's the reporting? Hours?
24 hours.
24 hours, they have to come to my office and fill out the documentation to report to NYMER. So how do we word it?
And what happens if it happens on a
Saturday or
Friday-
Sunday? Well, they-
Friday night?
Well, they come in, they'll tell their boss, and they come to me on Monday, because the insurance companies are closed on the weekend.
Or as soon as practicable, but no less than 24 hours?
I mean, unfortunately, I'm here, they could do it, but, the average person would not be.
Well, it can be modified.
How do we want to do it?
Well, it says as soon as possible, but not later than 24 hours.
Right.
I mean, as soon as
Yeah.
possible.
That
I
sounds,
Right.
think that
that
covers
that
it.
part's all
Okay,
fine.
possible, practicable.
Okay,
So really, what you want to clarify is that the employee's responsibility is to make an immediate verbal report to the direct supervisor, and thereafter within, let's make an immediate verbal report to their direct supervisor, and thereafter report said incident to the town supervisor.
Do you want to add in there any accident, theft?
Yes.
Or
Yes, I would
damage
leave
Oh,
all
yeah,
of
that
that.
all stays the same.
involving a town vehicle or personal, I just want to say, if there's no damage to the vehicle, but there's a personal injury.
Okay,
There's no personal injury in that.
not all accidents get reported to NYMER. In other words, if,
Well,
say
it's
I
a
back
personal
up.
injury, if,
No, if I back up and
Yeah.
I hit a sign, there's no damage to anything, but
Correct.
it's an accident, there's a scratch.
but if it's a personal injury.
Oh,
So
yes.
you back up and
These-
somebody's
But
standing
this
there.
already just says any accident. I think that's pretty clear.
Yes. So,
I don't know.
so you want to, an accident, if personal injury, it had to be an accident. Add the words you want.
Yeah, I don't think there's any harm in you saying personal
No,
injury.
but, okay.
What if someone's on the roof and they drop a ladder? It's not a
Well, that would
town
be an
vehicle or a
accident, wouldn't
personal
it?
vehicle, right? It's a personal injury. The ladder fell on their head. Because the ladder
Well, this
flew
is
off a
part of
car.
the
This is
vehicle
ve-
policy.
This is
So this is
vehicle.
it? So then do we have
Yes.
any other policy that covers what I just said?
I don't know off the
Well,
top of my
they
head.
reported to us, yes, because we send it into Ron and make a compensation claim accordingly.
Well, if you want to just limit this to the
This
vehicles.
is vehicles only,
Yes.
this is
Okay.
vehicles
This is
only.
part of the vehicle policy.
Okay, then what we have to do probably is check to see if anything else when the ladder falls off the, whatever, because that's reportable to NYMER too, right?
Yes,
True.
Okay.
there's not a problem with that policy so far that I'm aware of.
I don't, well, you ought to look at it. You never
Okay,
know.
We'll do that. Well, this came up by accident. Get it?
No pun intended. Nunc pro tunc.
Okay, so, do we have a final draft of the, what-
I am not going to do the Jeopardy music. I refuse.
and Michelle, you're gonna get the final motion? Sorry for the late people.
Be careful, those guys.
I know, it's good to go on.
John, would you like to sing?
Sorry.
Would you like to sing?
My audience says no.
You've heard him, huh?
No pressure, Will.
You know what? Will, you want to work on it? We'll go on to the other
Yeah, go ahead.
items? Okay, quickly? Okay, so that basically will end that part of the work session. We'll deal with it again in the regular meeting. First item is correspondence, waive the reading of the correspondence. Okay, motion to go into regular meeting?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Approval of the voucher list, $1,298,580,05. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Setting of meeting dates and public hearings. All meetings will be held at 1360 Route 22, Brewster, New York, at 7 PM unless otherwise noted. Thursday, February 8th, 2018. Thursday, February 22nd, 2018. So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
4, waive the reading of the budget transfers. 5 is a motion to revise the 2018 fee schedule. There's a change to the highway. The reinspection fee went from $300 to $150. So move for discussion.
I'll second.
Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Number 6, a resolution requiring a town seal emblem be affixed to all town-owned vehicles. Now therefore be resolved that the town shall permanently affix a town seal emblem, no magnetic signs, on all town-owned motor vehicles prior to being placed into service. And be further resolved that the town seal shall be no less than 12 inches in diameter. Now shall any town emblem legend with the words Town of Southeast be less than 24 inches in length and 6 inches in height. See attached photos to this resolution. And be further resolved that the town seal emblem be permanently affixed, centered in the middle of both the driver's side front door and passenger side front door. And be further resolved that any town vehicle which is currently in service and does not meet this criteria of this resolution shall be made to comply within 10 days from the effective date of this resolution, and that such vehicle shall be used for any purpose or operated on a public highway until said vehicle has been brought into compliance. And be further resolved that resolution number 74 of 2017 is hereby superseded, and further resolved the resolution shall take effect immediately. So move for discussion.
I'll second.
Discussion.
The only thing you forgot is, to add is 10 business days, and I just want to correct that.
No, this takes effect immediately. That's
No,
been-
no, no,
no,
I know
the
that, but you
compliance.
said to comply within 10 days, it's 10 business days, that's all.
Oh, I didn't say
I just
that?
want, no, you didn't, I just
And,
want to make
and
sure
it
that's.
just, I missed whether or not you said shall not be used for any purpose. I almost thought you hadn't thrown the not in there, just wanted to reemphasize it.
Where's that now?
The, next to the last line in the middle?
Okay. Okay. It's not so moved as amended, but so moved as brought out. Okay.
No problem.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Number 7.
Roll call vote or no?
Oh, do you want to,
It just says.
Did you wanna-
roll call.
No, we always have that.
Sorry. I'm
That's
no.
okay, no. You can always call for one.
if I think something's going to go unanimous, I just say all in favor. And if I'm wrong and you want to vote no, you
Right.
would just, it's all in favor and 1 no.
I'm in favor.
Okay. His first day. But he went to school,
Working out the kinks.
and he brought me back his report card and had A+, so I'm happy for that. He didn't want to see mine. Okay. Number 7, it's a certiorari settlement, Conklin, tax map 56.18-1-34.1. Petitioner is Conklin, Coughlin, tax ID 56.18-1-34.1, year 2017, assessment $1,192,400, settled assessment $800,000, and be further resolved that the town attorney is hereby authorized and directed to execute any and all stipulations, consent orders, and other documents necessary to reflect the foregoing settlement. So move for discussion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Boy, then I gotta get, okay, resolution to appoint a zoning board of appeals. We had interviews earlier this evening. We had 4 very qualified candidates. Unfortunately, we only could pick 1. Now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Southeast hereby appoints Stephen Corzine, who has been duly recommended and deemed qualified to fill in an unexpired term of the Southeast Zoning Board of Appeals to expire December 31. And you know what?
What's the year?
I had it on my other one. I don't have it on this one.
I think it's
Was it
2019.
1 year, was it?
No, it's 2 years, I believe.
12/31/19, I
Is it?
think.
I think,
Yeah, was-
and Michelle has 19.
19? Yeah, okay. 2019, and be further resolved that the appointment shall take effect immediately upon taking and filling the appropriate oath of office of the aforesaid appointee with the clerk of the town of the Southeast. So move for discussion.
Second.
I do want to say that I wanted to thank everyone who did come to interview. They were all good candidates. I am going to respectfully vote no on this because I felt there was a better qualified candidate. But I wish Mr. Corzine all the best and the best of luck, and I know he'll do an excellent job.
And I want to echo what Lynn just said. I think it was wonderful and gratifying that we had 4 applicants and that they all presented great qualifications. And hope that future openings for the boards would attract as many wonderfully qualified individuals.
And again, we had 4 very qualified candidates. It's really a tough way to pick one, but one did. Okay.
Yeah, I would also echo what Lynn was saying. Candidates were very qualified. Glad that people have volunteered their time to come out and help us with this function. I will also not be voting in favor of Mr. Corzine. I thought another candidate was better suited, but I applaud Mr. Corzine's qualifications and his intent to take this job on very seriously, and thank you.
Okay. Roll call vote.
Councilman Alvarez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Eckhart.
No.
Councilwoman Hudak.
Yes.
Councilman Lord.
No?
Supervisor Hay.
Yes. In my position, I would never vote no for someone because I think everyone that was there this evening was qualified, and I would not do that, but that's me. Okay, the gentleman, I believe, is still in the audience. If you wait until after the meeting this evening, maybe you can sign the oath of office and you can take your shoes off and start running. Okay, number 9 is the supervisor's financial report. Since we're only 15 or 16, but it's today the 18th, 18 days into the new year, there's nothing really to report. I'd like to make a motion to waive the rules. John, just so in case you, a motion to waive the rules. I want to put something on the agenda that was not on the agenda. So if the board will allow it unanimously, it can be brought on the agenda tonight. And what I want to bring on the agenda tonight is the town received a grant for some lights for Scalpino Park about 2 years ago. They had to come down because over the winter, 2 of them actually crashed to the ground. They've been up for probably 2 decades. And the liability of the town was too dangerous. And we got a grant for $250,000. It was a grant that was for the Opportunity Park, which is not going to happen for a while. And the state senator, Murphy, allowed that money to come to the town. So we're going to put it up into the Scalpino Park and both Little League fields to be lit. I know as a kid when I played, we didn't have lights in those days. They had lights, you know, we're not going back to 1800s, but you know, we didn't have lights in any of the fields, and it's no, I know the kids enjoy it and everything. So we're short about $110,000. We have about $190,000 in rec reserve, and the board, I'm going to ask the board this evening to allow me to take $110,000 of that. We're soon going to replenish that with about $120,000 from a recent project. The planning board meeting today, work session, there's another project coming in. We're getting another $20,000, $30,000. And anytime someone develops a piece of land or subdivides a piece of land, so if you have 10 acres of land, it's 4 acres per, you get 2 lots for every lot that's created after the first one. So if you have 8 acres and you divide 4 and 4, the town gets $7,500 for the additional lot. So if it's 100 acres and they divide it into whatever, we get in at 4,000. Doesn't happen a lot anymore because most of the land here has been developed. So I'm going to make a motion now to waive the rules to allow this to be put on the agenda tonight. All in favor?
Well, I'll second.
Oh, close. Okay.
And all in
Second, and all in favor is fine.
Yes.
Now, on the motion itself, to take the up to $110,000 to go toward the 250 to 360. Now, we're trying to get that reduced too as well, but I know how they work, you know, they know we want them, so, but if it's less than 360, we'll pay, but it allows me up to 110,000.
Right, so that's up to a maximum, but the idea is that we
I'm
want
gonna try to get a little bit lower, but we've already done this about 3 times. We've been, 3 years been waiting for this money, and I get a call about once every year, are you ready? This year, we finally said yes.
And I think the anticipation is that the rec fund will be replenished by, well, that sum would
From
be,
Barrett Hill,
well, from,
as one of them,
right,
and others. I just mentioned other ones coming forward as well.
correct.
Yep.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're at the part of the meeting now, motion.
Are we going to hear something from the work session? We're going to write.
Oh,
that
yeah,
down?
Do you want to
yeah, okay.
make a motion to waive the rules?
Make a motion to waive the rules to put on the
Modification.
modification of the vehicle policy. On the
Second.
motion, on second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Will, you want to read?
Sure, I've, to the best of my ability at this particular time, I've tried to rewrite this to reflect the concerns that were identified by the board members. Paragraph 12, the vehicle use policy would be amended to read as follows. Employees must make an immediate verbal report to their direct supervisor and, as soon as possible thereafter, but within not less than 24 hours thereafter, shall notify the town supervisor of any accident, theft, injury, or damage involving a town vehicle or personal vehicle used on town business, regardless of the extent of damage or lack of injuries, period.
Okay,
Do you have to put in a written report to the town supervisor, or you would just tell me?
well, they're gonna, when they come to
You're
my
gonna hand them the
office,
thing.
they have to fill out the report, which then gets forwarded to the town clerk, who then forwards it to NYMER.
Okay,
Right. I don't think the internal
No.
flow of
No.
that necessarily
Good.
has to be in the
No.
vehicle
Nope,
policy.
no
It just
problem.
has to be very clear that the employee
Right.
has to report to the
Perfect.
town
Okay.
supervisor.
I accept that amendment to it.
Second.
Is there
Second.
Second, okay.
I have a question.
Wait, ma'am, time out. If you want to speak, one, come up to the mic if you don't mind. We're going to make an exception to this because it wasn't on the work session. Okay. But we want to hear you, and so does the public.
My name is Kathleen McBride. I live in Brewster Heights. I was just wondering, you're talking about this going to the supervisor for if they have an accident. Where does most companies that you have an accident, they have to get a drug test or alcohol test or something? So they don't have to do that if they have an accident with a vehicle on company time, with a vehicle or company truck?
Right now, it's not part of our policy.
No.
However, if there's any indication there's a need for one, there would be one done. Most of these get reported to the police, and when they come out.
Yeah,
then
well,
they
that's
can-
what I'm saying. Usually, any company I know that, my brother works for a company, if he has an accident, he has to get a drug test
Well,
or an alcohol test.
any accident of substantial damage, or something like a Mickey Mouse accident, like I said, if I back into a sign or something like that.
Yeah, well, no, that I could
No.
see, but I'm just saying that people that just decide to run people over in their driveway,
Okay.
you know?
Okay,
How do
anyway,
we know they didn't have a liquid lunch?
if they went to your house, they probably did, right?
Well, maybe, but I'm just saying that, you know, people tend to like get mad and they just run people over in their driveway.
Well,
No, I think it's a very good consideration and a good point. I think what we can do is, usually if it's that kind of an accident, the police will come in
Well,
and
you don't want
administer the
someone
test.
driving your truck
That has
that's
that-
drinking and God forbid that something happened, that's a suing case.
yeah,
And that would be in the police report.
yeah, and the police usually get called out to those types of
Well,
accidents.
no, they're gonna go see you, Tony.
No,
That's the orders.
When-
They have to go see you.
no, look,
You have to smell their breath.
no,
The first order would be the police.
okay. We get it.
Thank you.
Okay, where are we at now?
Voting on it.
Voting? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public comment. Anyone from the public wish to speak to anything?
First question, this can be about anything in the
Anything,
town at this
yes,
point?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's two-part. It's two-part. Tony, I tried to talk to you a couple weeks ago. I just want to know why you said I couldn't talk to you through anything but email.
Just identify yourself, please.
My name is Mike Bruin, I live on Brewster Hill Road.
The reason I did that is because I'm hearing many reports from outside about comments that are being made about me by yourself. And so there's clarification, there's no misinterpretation. What is said between you and I asked you to do it in email.
Yeah, but that's, well, either way. I mean, if that's the answer. But the second is, a lot of the concerns that I was trying to deal with you directly. Through email, it's going to take.
Well, first of all, nothing gets, you don't have to deal with me directly. We are a town board. Anything done in this town.
Right, but you don't even know what I was talking about.
But it doesn't matter. This board
Well, it
makes
does.
those.
I had a concern that I needed to address with you. It was about different organizations within your town, but
This is why we have these types of meetings. This is where that would come to. I'm only the town supervisor. If you have a problem with a particular department or whatever, we address it. We address it as a town board. Everything that's being said out in public a lot of times is, it's my law, it's my this, it's my that. This is a town board, so address your concern this evening, why we have everyone here to address your concerns.
well, my second concern is about the permitting for what you guys call food trucks, although I'm not a food truck.
Well, okay, is it just food, or what's the word?
Well, that's the way it's generalized, but I think if you look at the definition, it would include someone who's selling honey, which I believe that's what you sell, correct? That's a
Right.
it's a foodstuff, is it not?
It's not.
Is
It's
it a
not- it's not
foodstuff? Is it-
Yeah, but it's not a prepared on-site food. I mean, I also sell beeswax candles. That's not a food. It's not a peddler's license. What I'm trying to get at is, you guys had put a law into effect that I have to have a supposed written approval from New York State. I've had the permit for 9 years, and then all of a sudden that came up. New York State's not gonna give me written approval. I've contacted DOT, I've contacted many different departments, none of which will even return my phone call. So now, for the last essentially almost month, I've been out of business for no supposed reason. I wanna find out if that can be amended, or what we can do about that. Because I'm not the only one. There's somebody else who didn't get the permit yet either. They just put a massive investment into their actual food truck. I have a massive investment. There's not a whole lot of local farmers in Brewster, and everything you do seems to be pushing me away. And I don't get it, and it's making me pretty angry.
What is the specific issue that you have with, because I don't understand what it is. I'm just asking if you could clarify that for me.
You want from the law itself, or?
No,
Well,
what
the
is-
issue
what
that
is
I'm
it?
having is,
Yeah.
in order to vend, you need to have written approval from either private property owner, because I can't sell my own property because it's not commercial. It's R160. I've sold on Route 312. I don't know if you guys know of my honey stand. So I have to have written approval for who owns it. New York State owns that roadway, which I have public access to. I'm not entirely certain, but even the New York State Constitution, I believe, it says it. Roadways are for public use. That's the written approval, but it's not good enough to get the permit. There's never been a complaint, from what I can tell, of anything on the permit, or even me. So I don't really understand where this is all coming from.
I'm confused only because, is it because,
The law had been rewritten, so now I have to have specific written approval from whoever owns the land. At this point, New York State owns the land. DOT won't give me written approval, it's above their pay grade. I can't get a senator or anything, a congressman to return a phone call over a peddler's license. There's no way I'm gonna be able to go back there and sell. And I can't sell off my own property, it's R160, you've boxed me in a corner.
Well, I believe there are permits for farm stands, are there not? You have
Well,
a
it was the
farm-
same thing. When I originally put up my farm stand, the town came over, gave me a nightmare until I contacted New York State Ag and Markets. They subpoenaed the town, found out it was too restrictive, and the town said, okay, you can do it. But my house
Well,
right now.
I believe our zoning code allows for farm stands on particular, on.
Not on a
specific
roadway,
farms.
though. I mean, you're talking.
I may not know, but in either case, at my house, I'm in R160, I'm not in the ag district. Because the farm was given up once you guys had changed the law initially,
No,
made it
that-
too expensive to get. I gave up the farm at that portion, so now I just have the house that's in the ag district,
You're,
or that's not in the
are
ag
we,
district.
there's two issues. I believe you sell on your property, and you did in the past on North Brewster Hill Road. Yes?
Previously, it was a different property. There's two,
Well, okay,
there's
but-
two separate tax maps.
Are
I
we-
don't sell there any longer, no.
I think we started off with a movable vehicle. You started off on Route 312. Are we talking Route 312, or are we talking where your house is?
Both, I can't get a permit for
That-
either
we-
location.
They're different, look at, if you're at your house, okay,
Right,
on Brewster Hill Road,
okay.
you can have whatever you want there as long as it's not bigger than 150 feet.
It's not
Square
true.
feet.
I can read you in the law right now that I just read. It has to be a commercially zoned area for a food truck.
That's,
Mr.
no, no, no.
Stevens just said.
That's for, I'm talking about a farm stand.
Yeah, but even if,
There's
it
a
doesn't necessarily, you've defined me as a food truck.
No.
My farm stand that's on.
When you
on
move
wheels.
that on wheels to a location, you become a food truck.
Right, and if I move that food truck back to my house, because there's no sense in selling it on 312, I can't get a permit there. I'll need a permit to use that same
You can.
vehicle. I can't. It's
Yes,
it's in the law.
No.
It has to be a commercially zoned property.
It
I'm
does not.
R160.
No. You want to go get the law?
I don't know that it's necessary. Are you talking about the peddling and soliciting or the zoning code?
His zoning code allows him
A farm stand.
up to 100, is your movable vehicle more than 150 square feet? No,
I don't believe so.
it's not, so you can have it. It's allowable, it's in our code.
In the zoning.
But that'll hold me over. What about 312? There's
That's
no.
different, you're talking two different things. If you take your vehicle that you have on 312 and put it in front of your home, okay?
Right.
And you want to sell on your property, you can do that. as
So
long-
I can get a permit for that.
You don't need a permit. It's allowed by code. And if you call the building department first thing tomorrow morning, they will tell you what section of law, you sold there before and didn't get any kind of a violation, did you not?
One side of the driveway is in the ag district, the other side is
It
not.
doesn't matter about
It
ag
does,
district.
I gave that up, because that's, in ag
You-
district, I'm not liable to town or county law.
If
Two
you-
separate things.
No, if you call the building department tomorrow, tell them the address of your property, they will tell you, as long as what you put there, a farm stand, whether it's on wheels, not on wheels, if it's not bigger than 150 square feet, you can sell there by right. You don't need a permit. Anybody can do it.
So anybody can sell in a residential area.
Based on our code, yes.
As long as.
But
as long
even,
as
but I
you
don't understand,
fulfill
because
the
right here it
need.
says a permanent location shall be within a commercially zoned area. But even so, the bigger thing is, we all know the traffic on Brewster Hill is not gonna give me any income. Will it hold me over until we can get the actual thing figured out? Possibly. But what can we do about amending New York State giving me written permission? That is not gonna happen.
I mean, I'm looking right now at Article 2 of Chapter 103, peddling and soliciting. Article 2, food trucks. So, is that what we're talking about, just so that I
Well,
understand?
there's two things we're talking about.
Well, that's what I
Mr.
wanna
Bruin
find out.
is talking about two different concepts.
Good.
One would be a farm stand, which is covered under our zoning code, I believe. And two, he's talking about a peddling and vending permit under Chapter 103.
Which is what I'm looking at. And the food truck is a vehicle from which food for human consumption is sold or dispensed, so that truck would be covered by that.
That's been the town's position all along.
And the
even
permit or
though Mr.
license
Bruin
issued
doesn't
shall be
believe that.
proof, right. And the location, the particular physical site approved by the town code enforcement officer where the truck shall be parked and operated during permitted hours. Then we have a definition of a veteran, then we have permits and fees, requisite application. And Mr. Bruin, what you're saying is that the town of Chelsea, that you believe that under that portion, that you need approval from the state? Is that what you're
No.
saying?
Yes, for Route 312, it says,
He wants to park it on the side of the road.
Of 312?
Yes.
Correct.
There's three
Right.
licenses issued in this town to vendors that sell on the side of a road,
Right.
okay?
I just want to know which
And-
one we're talking about.
Well, we're mixing apples and oranges.
Right.
So right now, we're back to Route 312.
Right.
Okay, so when you read the law, it says you need permission from the property owner, okay, when it's not your own property.
I'm
Okay.
reading it, yeah.
So New York State, he's saying, will not give him written permission.
Okay, so what it says is location. Except as otherwise provided for herein, a food truck permit shall allow the holder thereof to conduct a business vending food from a specific stationary location. Such location shall be on private property or within or on a public thoroughfare or right-of-way. No vending or soliciting of food sales shall occur by the permittee at any location within the town other than that which is declared on the permit. Permitted location shall be within a commercially zoned area, shall be subject to the prior approval of the town code enforcement officer to ensure that such location is safe for use by vehicles and pedestrians. An applicant for a food truck permit shall provide proof in writing signed by the owner of the particular location or, with respect to state, county, or other municipal thoroughfares, signed by the authorized permitting authority, that the applicant has permission to park or locate the food truck at that particular location. That's what you're speaking about.
That's correct.
What you're saying then is that you can't get that
Permission.
sign off. That's
Correct.
what you're saying? Okay.
Okay, now let's go down.
Shall not be closer than, okay, then we know outdoor seating, hours of operations. Okay. So he's going, Mr. Bruin's going under 103 then?
That's what he wants to do on Route 312, correct?
Right.
But he's been discussing, he's been saying that he's prohibited from having a honey stand or farm stand at his property, which is
Okay.
not correct.
Got it, okay. So really what it turns out to be, just so that we can understand it completely, is number one, Route 312, where you had that honey stand, you're saying that you would like to still locate the honey stand there, except you can't get the permission, or you've been unable to because nobody's gotten back to you, a sign off that you can have that honey truck there because it's a state
yes.
thoroughfare. Okay, so we got that down.
Okay, now, the second problem is number hours of operation. Read A and B.
Food trucks operated during the hours of 5 a.m. through 9 o'clock p.m. on any given day. And B, food trucks shall be removed from the permitted location within 1 hour after closing, shall not be returned to the permitted location more than 1 hour before the permitted opening time on any given day. There shall be no overnight parking of food trucks at any permitted location. Okay, but,
That is the bigger issue of all.
okay, well, I think the big issue right now is if Mr. Bruin can't get the sign off from New York State, you can't have it, and we don't even have to worry about going to hours of operation.
But let's go there with that, because that's what the current law is.
Yeah, okay. So basically, if you could get,
yeah,
if you could get a sign off from New York State, from the applicable authority, which is approved by the zoning enforcement officer, then the next step is, I think really that's number one, so you need that. And then number two would be, once you receive that, that permit, I think everything else falls in place, except that you know that you would then have to move the honey truck after 9, and you couldn't bring it back before 5 a.m. I think that's it. If you want now, so now we got the 312, if you want now to try to put your honey truck at the other location, I'm not gonna look up that, but
What's in the zoning code? I mean,
Well,
it has to do
let's deal with,
farm
let's deal with
standards.
this one first. Let's stay on 312, then we'll work to the other one.
yeah.
What about the removal of the honey truck? That's been the
In
biggest
terms of-
problem.
Yes and no, I mean, we've tried to go to court about it and so on and so forth, but nothing's been decided. 'Cause-
But this is the regulation.
Right, I've even gone towards you and tried to have it redefined, as I'm sure, you know, Michelle will attest. It has to be removed from the permitted premise. If even that parking lot has 2 separate tax maps, it's 2 separate premises.
No, it's not. There's no tax.
It
map.
is, then you pay my taxes.
Are we talking about 312 now?
We're talking about 312. That parking lot specifically has 2 separate tax maps.
It does not.
It does.
Well, here,
And
before
I've
we
had
say,
it, and I've had it surveyed.
The state does not have a tax map. If you tell me you're parked in the state right away.
I can show you pictures right now from your own website that even show the line. Your
Show-
own
show-
zoning
Can you
inspector.
show it to us?
I can, because your
Will-
own zoning
Will, do you have
inspectors come
information
out
there
and
as
seen the
well?
marker.
Will's got,
Because and you can flip through, there's 2 or 3 more from different, either Google Maps.
so show me what you're talking about.
There's a line that goes directly across.
This line right here, he's got the same one. This line going, this is state property.
No, that is this line right here. It's a poor depiction, but you'll see it going right through. It's clearly 2 separate tax maps. And if we went
Well, no,
slightly
first of
farther-
all, the highway right-of-way does not have a tax map number. It's not taxable property.
Right, but it's
So-
two separate properties.
So what
One
you're
state
saying is
property,
that
one
you're
private.
moving your truck a few feet into somebody else's property, and you claim you're complying with the requirement that it be removed from the licensed premises?
Will, do
Well,
you?
Michelle, can I sell off a private property if I don't have permission from them?
Well, Michelle's just a clerk, so
Yeah.
she's gonna.
Yeah, but fair enough.
Okay, wait, let's take your picture. Will's got these here.
Yeah, it's clear on his.
No, it's clear on,
This is where private property starts, and this is state property.
yeah, this is state property.
Yes, and this is private property.
Do you have
So do you-
permission to park on that property?
Yeah, I've actually spoken to them, I have.
Oh, no, you haven't.
I have.
No,
Do you have,
I literally called Putnam Cedar.
do you have written permission from them to do that?
I don't need written permission.
See, that's where,
Because because if you start getting into law, if they had posted it and then complained to you, then perhaps something could happen. But I have spoken with them, they haven't had a problem. Because have you had a complaint with me parking it on there, even though it's private property?
Well, you would need, by virtue of this, you would need their permission.
Only if I sell off of it, not if I park there at night.
oh,
That's what the law states.
so I guess we have to clarify the law. I mean, I don't
You
think
do, because I.
Okay, well,
I don't
Mr. Bruin, so you understand, the reason why this code was drafted the way it is because they don't want the proliferation of food trucks that are left on the side of the road or in any particular location. The food truck that's licensed up or permitted up at the Shell station, they move every night. They come back in the daytime.
But again, as Mr. Hay said, it's apples and oranges. There's got to be some sort of leeway. As a farmer, especially a beekeeper, I'm pollinating farms all over New York. I can't be there every single day to move it. If they can move it back on the private property, sure. Otherwise, I've got to invest another $40,000 truck to move that stand. I've paid the $500 so I can have an employee be there. A lot of times I'm out in Binghamton. I'm in the Finger Lakes. I'm pollinating farms all over the state, not just in Brewster. So there's got to be some sort of leeway.
you have a paid employee doing it?
If he has a permit, he can have a paid employee.
Sure.
Okay.
Remember that,
I
If he has a
thought-
paid permit.
I have 2 permits. I have a
Yes.
permit because I'm a veteran, and I get it for free. If I want an employee, I have to pay $500, which
Okay.
I have.
Okay. Well, if we have, how do you handle this? What do we do?
No, I mean, it's really up to the board. I
The
mean, if
spirit
they-
of the law, and with all due respect, was so that we wouldn't, your place might be the best or cutest or nicest, but it was so we did not have commercial trucks parked on any roadside in Southeast at night without an owner's permission, and, which was a good check and balance. So that really was the intent and spirit of the law, because it could be taken advantage of and look pretty awful.
Well, even in that space, it is. Every single night, there's tractor trailers parked there every night. And which looks worse? I can be now litigated against because I've paid $500 for a permit. But if a tractor trailer hasn't paid anything, free ride.
The tractor trailers probably pull off of there at nighttime to rest. Okay,
Well, now that's just simply a guess. And A, you can't state that. And B, I have pictures of the tractor trailers, car trailers that have been parked there for over a week or two at one time, never having moved.
I've not seen that.
Mr. Broom, can I ask, is there any way that, where your honey truck is now, that's where you're saying is the private property,
No,
right?
it's
That's
not.
correct.
No,
Right
that's
this second? If we went out there right now, you're on state property.
Are you a surveyor? I believe it is.
Okay, well, let's just, so what I want to know is, just to break it down, so where I drove by, as a matter of fact today, and I saw it sort of to the, as you're facing.
Right, off the paved
80
area.
It's to the right, as you're facing it. So what you're saying is that's private property, so you did indeed remove it from the permitted location to private property. There's no specificity as far as what the private property is. So what happens is, that's what you're saying. So in the first instance, what I, would respectfully request is, if you could get something in writing from that, the owner, indeed that you're saying is the owner, because that would be very helpful.
Mr. Rowan, come here for a second. Can you identify for the board where your truck is?
It's gonna be right in this area.
No, be more specific.
In terms of what?
You're criticizing me because I'm not a surveyor.
In this exact photo,
Yes,
it's right here.
right now.
I couldn't tell you where it is right now.
Oh, come on.
As on the ground,
I happened to take a picture of it because I was out there today, because we were out there talking to the people from Putnam Seabury, who is trying for something, and we had the people in the glass
I know
building.
what they're doing, they're going through, I've even spoken with them about it.
Okay, so where is your truck?
It's right around this area, but even if
When
I was.
you say-
all right, hypothetically,
No,
even
you
if-
told me,
no, listen,
you
no,
asked me
because
if I
we
was a
keep talking about
surveyor.
taxpayers.
No,
That's great.
no.
Even if I was on state property, I don't have the permit right now.
But you just told me that you weren't, you're on the Seabury.
Whether I'm on private or not, doesn't matter. My permit expired, I don't have it.
But you're parked where you're not supposed to be parked.
I can't park on state property. I don't have the permit.
No, I shut this thing.
So right now, you don't have the permit because you.
No, I'm unable to
We're
sell.
gonna come at the beginning, so so you don't have the you don't have the permitted right through New York State. So we're kind of back
My
to the-
permit
got
expired
it.
on December 31st.
Got it,
So
okay.
if I was parked on private property, state property, right now, it doesn't matter. It's no different than the tractor trailers that are parked there. I could pull it right onto the pavement, I'm there legally. That's not what we're here to discuss, or that's not what I'm here to discuss.
But that's the law.
It's not the law. I don't have the permit. That held me to a different standard.
Oh, so you're
So-
gonna leave,
so you're gonna-
leave your vehicle parked there and do nothing with it?
Tractor trailers do.
I think your point though is that right now you're really on private property. That's what I thought when you're over to the side.
That's what I'm under the,
Okay. I think now we're kind of venturing into where maybe it's more of an enforcement. I think what I've tried my best to do is to just clarify for my own self what the initial difficulty is, which is you presented that you couldn't get the approval of the state to be on that right of way. And then, at that point then, since you haven't gotten the approval, you can't get the permit, so you can't sell off of that lot anyway, correct? Okay, and then the next step is if indeed you did get the approval and you could sell from that lot, then the next step is, it would be your contention that by moving the honey truck off of that one area, as long as you did it after 9 and before 5, that it would be fine because you have removed it from the permitted area. The fact that it's on the contiguous lot, which is private property, is of no moment because of the fact that, as long as you have that person's permission, then under those circumstances, it's allowed. Okay, so I understand.
because it was, the original vending location was Route 312 at I-84 intersection.
Yeah.
That wasn't specific enough for me. I tried to have it redefined. They defined it as the entire paved area, which again is just gonna set up a lawsuit for the town, because now you're giving me permission to sell off of private property, and so on and so forth. And the list goes on. I'm just trying to streamline the whole process and go from there. But, Mr. Hay, this is what I was trying to discuss with you. If your issue was me parking, we could have this discussion.
You don't have the discussion with me. I am only one person of a 5-member board.
Right,
I
but you
think
could have
it's
voiced this
important-
concern. You've done your due diligence and you took pictures of the stand, gone on.
I was out
don't
there
do
today and I
anything else.
took pictures of the stand. Yes, I did.
Mr. Bruin, respectfully, I think, what Tony's trying to say is, he thinks this is the proper forum. I do too, because I think it's a board concern. The entire board had passed this legislation, for lack of a better word, and therefore I do think it's our concern. I think this is the best forum. I understand it a whole heck of a lot more than I did before you walked up here, and I have indeed heard about this. So, I think I've focused on, and I think we're all now focused on what the issues are. I think at this point, it's something that we'll speak about, and obviously we'll speak about it if maybe we'll put it on another work session just to discuss the fact of what the impediments are. But I think the first step would be for you, would be to, if you're going to get a permit, to try to get that permission, because otherwise it's kind of like moot. We don't really have to attack the next step, other than to see whether or not Putnam Seabury, whoever, does indeed own that plot that it's on there, whether they've given you permission. I think that's really all we can do at this point.
I just wish there had been better tact then, because if it was, when I'd spoken to you, you literally hung up on me.
I hung up on you because I've told you.
Yeah, but you
I
didn't. If
only
there was
wanna
better
deal with
tact
you
and
in-
understanding,
Look what
say
you were
it's a
doing this
town
evening.
board meeting.
Look what you're doing this evening. I'd rather you do this in public so this board can deal with
Yeah.
it. Tony Hay is not your problem. This board is your problem. You don't like the law, you want to change, you had the opportunity.
none of that was said on the phone.
We had
That's what I'm
public
saying.
hearings, we had public hearings to do this. You
Long-winded. I
chose not to
appreciate it.
come.
You know what I think, Mr. Bruin, is, I love to say today's the first day of the rest of my life, because now I understand it a lot. I don't think it's anyone's, in using problems and whatever. I think right now we've identified an issue. Once we identify the issue, we can help better, with what you have. I know a lot of people that have used your honey truck and enjoy your products. So it's not our job to obfuscate that. It's just our job to comply, to create legislation that can be enforced, that benefits our community. So I think
Absolutely.
that's where we're at. And I
Yeah,
don't think it's anything to do with personalities or otherwise. I prefer that matters like this go to the entire board. That's why we have the public comment, that's why you're here, and now we can focus more on the issues. That's what I think.
I mean, if we can get it on a following work meeting, I mean, there's 20, 30 customers I know that want to come up and speak if they have to, so I guess, will I know if it's on a following work schedule?
Oh, yeah,
or-
certainly. We'll discuss that, and the agendas are posted.
Okay.
Tony usually posts them, or Michelle usually posts them on the Monday before the
Well,
Thursday.
we have to wait for everything, usually a Tuesday.
Yeah, you just
If
go
you're,
on.
if you're.
Go on our website.
What Michelle will do, we'll ask her this evening, when this is gonna be on the agenda, we'll put it on there, but there's a lot to be done. If you can come at the next meeting and give us some written documentation from Putnam Seabury that they're gonna allow you to park their vehicle, now you understand, if Putnam Seabury provides you with that document, that they will have
We're
to now.
putting cart before the horse right now. We have to.
No, we're not.
as-
You're
I-
gonna park there, you said you're gonna park there.
No. Well, let's just, I think we've kind of,
Well, the meeting's in February the 8th.
no
and the
pun
22nd,
intended,
so.
we're beating that dead bee enough, okay? So let's just,
No, I mean,
move on.
theoretically, if I could interject for a second, if you got permission to park your vehicle on Putnam Seabury's portion of that paved area, which I think is what you're saying you're moving into, you could get a permit, a peddler's permit that allowed you to park in that location, but you'd still have to move it every night.
I understand that.
And that wouldn't be moving it onto the highway right-of-way and then putting it back into the permitted location. I don't believe, because that's not the intent of the law.
But I think it's important that we have the
But that's-
discussion.
Right, and that's even the intent of the law, that's why I tried to have it tried in court. I came, twice, 3 times, the zoning guy never showed up twice, it was thrown out, et cetera, but
Yeah.
it's,
And if
that's another battle down the road.
My
We
understanding
gotta-
is that if the behavior continues, more tickets will be issued, and next time they won't be thrown out, because the code enforcement officer will be there to try the case. Unfortunately, when the case was set for trial, the code enforcement officer was in Japan.
I understand that, and
So-
I showed up twice, or 3 times, whatever it
And you
was.
showed up twice and it was dismissed after the second appearance. And it
But I
was
think
unfortunate.
what we all want is we want to do that which is lawful and that which benefits the community. So in that spirit, I'd like to say, let's see if we can have a greater dialogue. That's what I'm gonna say.
Well, okay, here, well, again, we have 3 people with these permits in town, okay? Everyone's in here except for one. I don't have a, if the gentleman wants to park there. Now, Putnam Seabury is in front of the planning board. They've already made an application here to this town board for a multi-million-dollar project. That's their property. And I'm telling you right now, if that vehicle is parked where he has permission, or he claims he has permission, or brings in permission, that opens up that multi-million-dollar site plan to allow that to sit there. It opens up something further.
Now, something tells me that if they have a multi-million-dollar,
They're not gonna let the honey.
I doubt strongly that they're, at that point, going to issue permission. But once again, I think that we have to really start from square one and just have a conversation and have a dialogue. That's what I'm looking for, a dialogue. That's it.
So we're gonna put on we'll put on for the next agenda, how we're gonna rework.
Now, how we're going to approach this. I think right away, you need to, once again, attempt to have somebody issue you the permit from the state. In other words, and when I say permit, meaning permission.
Right.
Written permission said that you are allowed to keep your.
Right. I think that's
or-
a
or allowed to
great
park
start.
your vehicle there for
Right.
vending purposes.
Right.
I mean,
And you get to that point, then we can launch from there.
So Thursday, February 8th, 7 o'clock is the meeting. It's a work session. You'll be one of the first items on the agenda.
It's premature right now.
No.
First, unless,
wants
he-
us-
well, I mean, assuming you can get a letter or written permission between now and then I would say yes. But if we're making it up, if he doesn't get that letter, why are we gonna,
well, I
what are we
think
gonna
what
discuss
one
on
of the things that
February
Mr.
8th?
Bruin is saying is that he has tried and is unable to get any type of written permission from the state. So he's asking this town board to rethink that aspect of it.
Correct.
And that would be the town board's
But
prerogative,
rethink
one way or
it,
another.
my understanding is rethink it with Putnam Seabury giving him permission. But if he's
But
gonna
that's-
come in on
that's his-
February
that's
8th and
his-
not have
that's not
permission
our-
from them.
It's his to do, not us.
But that's
We've
my
made the
point.
law.
If February 8th, he still doesn't have a letter from Putnam Seabury, why are we going to
But-
have,
Or the state.
yeah, why are
I
we
think
gonna
really
even discuss
fundamentally
it?
what
Well, you
it
can
is
just
if-
adjourn it.
If what we're saying is that that we think that we need to rethink that piece of our legislation, the current existing code, then we can say it at a work session. I don't have a problem putting it down on a work session just to say whether or not we're gonna reconsider it and what's the ups and downs of it, but, at that point, there's not a heck of a lot we can help you with unless we decide at a work session and then have the public hearings and a regular meeting to amend the law. And whether or not we're gonna do that is, since the law isn't that old, I don't know if that's a possibility. I would certainly entertain it at a work session and kick it around a little as far as whatever it is, and then, we can take it from there.
You tell us what you want us to do. Do you want us to put it on to discuss it, but you still have to go through the motions and get Putnam Seabury to provide you with a letter that they authorize you to do what you're doing?
Well, yeah, I mean, I would like it on the next agenda, but the Putnam Seabury, if I don't have permission to park there in writing, that's not necessarily the issue. My issue is that I can't get it from the state, that you guys had passed a law that the state has to approve it. I can't get DOT to approve it, no one else is returning phone calls. An amendment to that would be ultimately what I'm looking for. Because I mean, I had the permit for 8, 9 years before that, the permit's been in existence for 30 years before that, it had never been an issue up
The
until
law
recently.
changed, though.
Right, your law changed,
See, not my law.
you being the town.
Okay, say the
I-
town, because I've seen Facebook, not Facebook, what's that? Social media things, me, your law, so.
Right, and I've seen things
Town
that you've
board.
written saying I didn't have veterans working for me when you told me
Say
to,
it
and so on
again,
and so
say
forth.
what you just said.
I've seen letters from you on the internet, on town websites,
Oh.
that say I never had veterans working for me when I did, and so on and so
Oh,
forth.
I never said that.
Okay, well, I think,
Right, but
this,
it's
But
he
that's
said,
why
she
I
said.
want stuff in
This-
writing, that's
this
why I
is-
want stuff in writing.
this is, we're going very positive, so let's keep on going in that positive direction. I think that's the best way that we can all function as town board members and as town residents. I think that's the best, really. Otherwise, you just kind of go backwards. It's always good to approach this more businesslike. All right?
Voice of reason, I like it.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't do that, I don't do Facebook.
I wish I did.
Okay, anyone else from the public? Town board members.
I mean, I'd like to just, well,
Okay, ma'am, would you come up to the?
Yeah, you have to.
You do. No, come on, please.
Yeah, you have
Up the
to.
mic.
you have to give your
It's
name, rank, and
because,
serial number, too.
The world wants to
It's
hear
just
you.
because no one can hear you otherwise, who's gonna watch this, Terry.
Terry Chiramella. I live in Brewster Heights. And I would like to ask, who's going to be appointed certain jobs? Because I wasn't here for that.
Yeah, I got your email, I'll forward it to you tomorrow. What liaison from the town board is the different liaisons?
Yes.
I'll provide it to you tomorrow by email.
Okay, wonderful, thank you.
You're welcome. So
Are
back
you-
to board
Are
comment.
you up at 6:30?
No, I'm actually up at 3:30.
There you go.
You'll be a great one to converse with tomorrow.
So I just wanted to
Actually, I'll do it as soon as the meeting's over.
welcome John Lord to the board, and thank him for his hard work in getting to this board, and I anticipate nothing less than more hard work being on the board. And I just wanted to welcome you to our humble, slate-covered, behind-the-scenes board. Welcome.
Thank you. It feels nice to be here, and it's going to be weird seeing this on TV.
You don't have to watch, there's no law. I've not watched one in 6 years, so.
Thank you. Look forward to working with everyone. Thank you.
And I can speak from experience, he won't be as nervous tonight as he is 25 years from now, so. Matter of fact, I'll get you the information before you leave tonight. Anyone else? I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to close tonight's meeting.
Second by,
Go ahead, John.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.